What's going on, guys? Nathan here, back again with the final of the Commander Duskmourn Precon spoilers. Duskmourn's coming out in about 3 weeks, and we're right in the middle of spoiler season, and we got our hands on all of the face commanders. And so today we are going to be reviewing Valgavoth Harrower of Souls, which is a 4-mana Rakdos commander. Very spicy. Before we talk about Valgavoth, I'd just like to ask, if you enjoy this content, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more Magic content, which will be coming out soon. So Valgavoth is another commander within the Rakdos group slug archetype, and we've seen this before with Ob Nixilis Captive Kingping. Also, a 4-mana 4/3 flying trample says whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob Nixilis. Exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. So Valgavoth relieves us of the losing exactly 1 life stipulation. However, it caps us to drawing only 1 card per turn, and so 3 cards per turn cycle, whereas Ob Nixilis, you can just do it over and over again. Also, it does remove the trample from Ob Nixilis, which might be notable if you're facing some decks that have a lot of flyers. So I think it is a worse version of Ob Nixilis, but Ob Nixilis tends to go pretty hard, and so Valgavoth, I guess, also it is a nice, just consistent source of card draw where you actually get to hold on to the cards as well. So if you compare Valgavoth with a bunch of rituals and damage dealing effects, I think you can have a pretty smoothly functioning deck. So with Valgavoth, of course, the cards that come to mind, Pyrohemia and Pestilence, both of these allow us to pay 1 to deal 1 damage to each creature and each player, which means that on each of our opponent's turns, we can ping them for 1 to draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on the Elder Demon. And of course, these are great at controlling the board as well, which I really like. And I think that you can even throw in some damage amplifiers if you're feeling particularly frisky, something like a Fiery Emancipation or something like that to triple your damage effects, which would, I think, be very cool. And if you could somehow triple, so if you even got, let's see, 3 damage on opponents during their turns, right, it would put them up to 7 power. And then if you got Fiery Emancipation to then deal triple that, and somebody wasn't able to block with flyers, then that's basically GG via commander damage. Of course, you can also run some of the punishing style of effects. Some favorites that I like. Burning Earth will burn somebody for 1 every time they tap a non-basic, and so you can build around this by just playing a bunch of basics in your deck. And there is the not as good option here, but still kind of interesting, Unlicensed Disintegration. 3 mana destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, it'll then ping somebody, or ping the controller for 3 damage. So this one might be more on the chopping block, but I did want to bring it up. You can really, if you wanted to, just go to EDHREC for Ob Nixilis Captive Kingping and look at some of their options there. You might want to find effects that are not locked into just exactly 1 damage, because that is a stipulation that Ob Nixilis has right now that we don't need to worry about. And so we can run effects like Harsh Mentor instead, which says whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. So nice little hate card here that can be run in Valgavoth instead of Ob Nixilis. And there's also Rampaging Frostodon, which will ping somebody for 1 every time a creature enters the battlefield, and it also shuts off life gain, which is pretty excellent. So let's see, what else do we have? Savage Beating. So this is for the Voltron brewing route. If you wanted to take Valgavoth, you could also run extra combats, and so Savage Beating is sort of a poster boy for all of the different extra combat spells. Of course, this says cast a spell only during your turn and only during combat. Choose 1 for 5 mana. Creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn, and then untap all creatures you control after this phase is an additional combat phase, and you could entwine that for 2, so to pay a total of 7 mana. So ultimately, that would allow you to potentially KO 2 people with Valgavoth if he is large enough. You would need 21 commander damage, so he would need to be at least 11 powers to give him double strike. He would hit for 22, and then on the second combat, he would hit for another 22 towards an opponent. So that's like Magical Christmas Land, and there are, of course, cheaper extra combat spells like oh gosh, what's the D&D one? It starts with a K that I'll have up on screen as well. I really like that one. And there's a new card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction that I can't remember off the top of my head either, but I'll have that up on the screen as well. And then of course there is cards like Two-Handed Axe. If you wanted to go more like Equipment Voltron, as an instant you can give target creature double strike, and so you can, again, if Valgavoth is at least 11 power, that can represent potential lethal. And then it says, for the artifact equipment, whenever equipped creature attacks, double its power until end of turn, equipped for 2. So not too bad. Again, if Valgavoth is already huge, this can help you to end the game via Voltron style of wins. And of course, Valgavoth is going to be a magnet for removal in this particular deck, being a giant source of card advantage. So you're going to want to protect the demon with effects like your Bolt Bends, your Deflecting Swats to protect against targeted removal, or with the black style of removal, you could run the Malakir Rebirth style of effects. So there's plenty of options to keep him safe. And so you can definitely be a little tricksy by just holding up 0 mana for Deflecting Swat. And of course, Bolt Bend will work regardless of what power Valgavoth is, because he has pays power 4, which is pretty great as well. So that is Valgavoth Harrower of Souls. What do I think of him so far? I think that he doesn't change anything in the Rakdos group slug archetype, being we already have Ob Nixilis. So if you're looking for, perhaps I would say a longer game where your commander isn't as much as of an instant kill threat, then I would consider running Valgavoth, actually, because not only will he hook you up with card draw, which can last you further into the game if you're looking to play a more controlling style of game, but he also isn't an instant kill on sight commander necessarily, because he is just a little bit slower by only letting you draw 1 card per turn, instead of Ob Nixilis just vomiting your cards into exile and then you can play them. I do really like the design. It's a little bit of a copy paste, admittedly, but I like the design regardless. The flavor of having a demon where it will give you knowledge in exchange for, the blood of your opponents. I think that's really cool. Of course, it's flying and it costs at least something to target it. So it's, very flavorful in terms of how powerful it is. And I will definitely be slotting this into my demon tribal deck. Not as much of a build around, but more of just being a good 4/4 flyer and meeting the demon creature type. That is going to be Valgavoth. If you guys are interested in building him, let me know what you would like to throw in your decks down in the description or down in the comments below. And of course, that is going to wrap up all of the Duskmourn Precon Commander spoiler videos. So hopefully you guys enjoyed these, and hopefully they gave you some brewing ideas to take into your Moxfield adventures. With that, if you like this video, leave a like on it and subscribe if you want to see more Magic content from me, and hopefully we'll see you all in the next one.